Thanks for downloading another segment from the Best of the Classic Metal Show. The Classic Metal Show is heard live on Saturdays from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Eastern, exclusively at www.theclassicmetalshow.com. And now here's another piece of Classic Metal Show history on the Best of the Classic Metal Show.
The Classic Metal Show.
That's brand new stuff from the band Primal Fear, a great new song called 6 Times Dead. And on the phone right now we have the lead vocalist, the main guy, the longtime lead vocalist now of Primal Fear, the one and only Ralf Sheepers. Ralf, how you doing, man?
Thank you. I'm okay. How you doing over there?
Excellent, Ralf. Well, Ralf, I have to say it, man. As always, just another brilliant album, man. I mean, Primal Fear, you guys are 8 for 8 as far as putting out kick-ass stuff. Thank
you. Appreciate that, man. Well, we have 4 guys writing in the band, and it's a good advantage that we have talents in the band to compose songs, and it's a really good mixture we have together right now, and we're really, really positive about it and very happy about the result and also about the feedback so far all over the world. So this could continue like that.
Right. Well, Ralf, the thing that I noticed most about listening to this album, and, you know, I've spun it 2-3 dozen times now, and the one thing that really strikes me is there's a lot of pieces to this that actually sounds like the first 2 or 3 albums that Primal Fear did, you know, almost like you threw it back a little bit. But right when you start thinking that it's a throwback album, you throw a song out there like Soar as an example that is completely different from anything that you've done. You know, were you guys really trying to both experiment and make something that sounded like the early material of the band?
Absolutely, you hit the spot. So that's what we wanted on purpose. We really want to have the vibe of the first albums again, and also, of course, of Nuclear Fire, which was a very successful album so far, and the fans really like it. And of course, we're happy with every album so far, and we always experimented a little bit. So now we have the fine mixture, the perfect mixture in our opinion, to mix the modern stuff and the atmosphere stuff we have on the album, and also the a little bit more older stuff, like 10 years ago. It's not that old, but we think we don't want to lose that vibe from the first years, and that's pretty okay for us.
Sure. Now, do you think that maybe you guys did start pulling away from that a little bit, specifically with New Religion, because a lot of people did question that one a little bit because it was so different from the, you know, in-your-face power metal style that you have done for most of your career?
Yeah, that could be a little bit, of course, but if you talk about songs like, for example, the opener, Sign of Fear, which is a pretty fast-forward, heavy metal screaming song, and still we on every album we have those heavy metal vibes, but maybe we had that time where we experimented a little bit too much with those strings and keyboards and atmospheres and stuff, and that time it was okay for us, and still it is okay for us, so we still like those albums pretty much, so we never want to miss one step at one album of our career.
Sure. Now, Ralf, with this record, like with several records in the Primal Fear catalog, you guys did have a member change this time with one of the core guys, Stefan, leaving the band. What happened with Stefan, and how did Magnus come into the band?
Actually, for Stefan, it was getting a little bit too much. His wife got pregnant again, and he's got the second baby, and he's got a job and stuff going on, and it was pretty much for him when we were planning and scheduling the last tour we did. He said, guys, it's okay, and it's okay for you, it's good for the band, for the success and everything, but he can't do it anymore because of family duties and stuff, and also with his work, as I said before. So we thought about bringing Magnus into the band, who also composed songs for the New Religion album and also played solos for the album, and he's just a fantastic songwriter and a very good musician. And we thought, okay, it's another lineup change. It's not good for our image again, but and also it's pretty hard to bring a guy in the band. Does he fit really, with a big question mark? And he absolutely fit into the band. We have a very good vibe live and everything, which is a very important thing if you go on tour with a band, staying in the same bus, in the same hotels, and everywhere, on stage and everywhere. You have to have a good vibe. It's like a family together, and he's just fine. He's one of the best.
Sure. Now, with Primal Fear, I mean, obviously this band is I don't want to say it's yours and Matt's band, but I mean, you guys are the two guys that have been there from the beginning, and you've been there through the various changes that you've had in members in the band. Does it feel any different now than maybe it did in the beginning because you've had different influences in the band?
It could also be, yes, but as I said before, we wanted to stick to that vibe we had before with the previous albums and the first albums and stuff. So, and the funny thing is, when Magnus came in the band, he told us he was a fan of Primal Fear before, so we didn't have to tell him so much what to do. He came up with the riffs we were forgetting already, you know.
Right.
So he was bringing up the stuff we were starting with. So this was really great, and also having Henny back from the era of Nuclear Fire album was a pretty much good income for this album. So you can hear the Rush album 16/6. It's in my opinion, also a very good album.
Absolutely, man. Now I do want to ask, and I know I mentioned it earlier, but the song "Soar" is probably the one that stands out the most to me, just because it is, if you take every other song that's in the Primal Fear catalog, it sounds nothing like any of those. You know, what is the genesis behind that song?
The thing is, you know, Henny, Matt, and Magnus, they were meeting last year in fall in Sweden to compose some songs. And that's the time when 80% of the album happened, where they created 80% of the album. And I did some stuff here at home in my small studio, and also added my melody lines and lyrics and stuff. So they came up with the song "Soar," and I thought the same thing like you are thinking now. But when I was singing it in the studio, I got into it, and really, wow, this is a great song. If you get to listen it many times, it's not maybe it's not catch you the first time when you hear it, but when you listen to it a little bit more, you really get the vibe and the touch and everything. And also, it's a good melody hook line in the chorus, so that's also a very important thing for us to have a hook line in a song. And also Soar has this. So, and on the other hand, it has the experimental part in the middle eight, so right. It's pretty interesting.
Sure, and it's probably something new and challenging for Matt on a production side as well, because it's the production thing, especially that middle part where with the breakdown, or right before the breakdown, where you know, it's a totally different sound, just the pure sound of it, than anything you guys have done.
Absolutely, and I mean, talking about the production and the producers and stuff, I mean, we're so experienced. Everybody of us in the band is so experienced. I think we produced the whole album together, but in the end, there has to be one guy who has to do the decisions. If you have many opinions, you have to have one guy who's making the decisions in the end to bring it to a point, and that's always Matt, and we can always trust on him.
Sure. Now, Ralf, you know, it's no secret that in your career that basically, and this is obviously ancient history, but I have a specific question I want to get to with it, was you obviously were one of the final two for the Judas Priest job that eventually Tim Ripper Owens, you know, ended up taking for 10 years. And I'm curious for you now, you know, now that you look at how everything is played out, where, you know, you have really built up a solid, stable career, so to speak, with Primal Fear, where Tim, you know, admittedly, Tim's an excellent singer. He's a friend of ours to boot, but Tim has bounced around through a couple of bands instead of finding that stability. Are you kind of happy that things worked out for you the way that they did?
Of course, I'm very happy that it worked out to have Primal Fear, but I couldn't know that 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever, how long it was. And, I mean, it's history. Everybody's happy now. Judas Priest is together in the original lineup, and Tim is having a good job everywhere. I think he's doing a really good job everywhere he sings. And we also keep in touch. He's a friend of mine, and it's a great guy. So, in the end, I think everybody could be happy that it happened like this. And, yeah. I don't complain about anything anymore.
Right, but maybe 10 years ago, not so much, right?
Yeah, the thing is, you know, it's the decision. I never had any audition with them or whatever. I spoke to them afterwards, and the guys are really nice. KK is a nice guy, and Glenn also, and all the other guys. Rob, I met at the Halford tour, at the Metal God tour. Everybody's just nice, and we have respected from each other, so it's the most important thing in the scene, isn't it?
Right, absolutely. Now, Ralf, I think I read somewhere that you're also doing a solo record. Is that true?
It's true, yes. I'm collecting stuff over the years, and we postponed it again because of the new Primal Fear album. We wanted to present Magnus and Henny again in the band, and so we sat together with a record company and said, let's do a Primal Fear album first, which is the same record company, so it's a little bit more easy for me.
Sure.
And yeah, I'm collecting after the tour this year. I'm focusing to bring everything on a hard disk and see who's taking some parts, some guest musicians here and there, which I can't speak of right now because it's way too early.
Sure.
But yeah, we're gonna release it next year, so still have some time.
Sure. Now, will that be really different musically from what people know you from, as with either Primal Fear or Gamma Ray or whatever?
Not so far away, but I don't want to do the same things, so there would be no sense to do that. So, of course, I'm going to bring in some more atmospherical stuff and maybe some more ballads than like a Primal Fear album would have, because I'm more the guy who really likes to sing on pianos and acoustic guitars and stuff. But we will see. It's not going to be a mellow album. It's also going to be heavy metal riffs on it.
Sure. Now, do you worry when you're writing that material, or do you worry about, well, maybe I should hold this as a Primal Fear song versus, just putting it out as a Ralf Sheepers solo song?
Yeah, when you work, this could be. I mean, sometimes it really works out. We should keep that for the band or do that for solo stuff or whatever. The same thing is happening to Matt and Magnus every day. They composing pretty much songs together and also alone, and they say, this song is so good. I can imagine maybe if Ralf sings it, it sounds really great for Primal Fear. So that's good in the end to collect the stuff over the years and having the advantage to choose good stuff,
Sure. Now, this is just an interesting idea that I have, or a question, just because not being in a band, I don't know how this works. But on Matt's last solo record, there were 2 or 3 songs that really you could just envision you singing them and them being Primal Fear tunes. Do you, as a member of Primal Fear, ever listen to like Sinner records and go, man, wish he would have brought this one to this band?
Yes, I'm listening to Sinner, of course, but sometimes it's vice versa. I think sometimes Primal Fear songs could belong to Sinner if Matt thinks. Yeah, of course. I mean, it's from the same guy. Many songs. It's no question that the stuff sounds similar a little bit, of course, and the most important difference is the vocalist, and this is what it makes it different in the end. And of course, Sinner has pretty much more of those harmony solos and melodic solos and stuff going on, which is not so much in Primal Fear.
Sure. Now, one more quick thing, Ralf. I wanted to ask you about this. I guess you would call it sort of an all-star project, although it is an actual band. What is your relationship with the guys from Tribuzzi?
Oh, Renato. He came up to Matt. I think it was 2005 or 6. I can't remember. He came up when we were in Brazil, and he was asking if we could take part in an album of him, and so we sang some choir stuff, Matt and me together, and then he wanted to make this dream come true, to bring all those members who were taking part were involved in the album. We wanted to make also some concert in Brazil, and that's what he did. He invited Bruce Dickinson, he invited Matt and me. Unfortunately, Michael Kitsy couldn't come. He's not so much into live singing anymore. So I got the part of Michael then to sing it live, and it was just great. We had a good time. We got to know Bruce Dickinson, had a good time with him. We were driving cars and stuff. It was really great. So, yeah, Renato is just a nice guy who he made a dream come true that he could do this record and also some live shows.
Sure. Now I'm curious, just as a total fan, and I'm sure you're a fan as well as a musician, but what is that like being up on stage sharing vocals with Bruce Dickinson? I mean, clearly one of the greatest singers in the history of heavy metal.
Absolutely. It's just amazing. It's great. So, of course, we had our different songs, but in the end, when they came up with the Iron Maiden song, do I remember it now? I don't know if I can't remember the song, what we did, but we made this medley together. It was an Iron Maiden song. It was just gorgeous. It was really great. And And also, he's a nice guy, and this guy is doing so much. I mean, he's busy. He's a pilot and everything, and that's what's make it also very interesting to talk with him, to speak with him about technical stuff and so on. Because I'm also not only a musician, So that's great. He's very good. It was a great time there.
Excellent. Well, Ralf, the new album from Primal Fear is called 16/6, Before the Devil Knows You're Dead. Well, one more real quick one. What does that mean, 16/6?
Supposed to be a riddle, and I don't know. It's not so much a secret anymore as it was in our guest book already. Somebody found it out and wrote it down, and also some of the members say it in interviews and some don't. So I tend to say it. So if you count the alphabet, you get the solution.
All right.
That's 16/6, and Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, as you know, is also a movie, and we thought it's a good impression. It's also, I think you guys in America say that pretty much. When you die, you hurry up with the soul to go to heaven before the devil knows you're dead somehow.
Right.
And I think it's good. It's also a very good line for a heavy metal album.
Excellent. Well, let's why don't we go ahead and finish this one up? Why don't you go ahead and pick a track for us, a closing track, Ralf, and tell us a quick story about it from 16/6.
Well, okay, I'm gonna pick Black Rain because it's also a little bit of a story of you guys had over there in the U.S. where soldiers were over there in Iraq and giving their lives and everything, their soul away. And this guy in this story got bumped by friendly fire, and it's just a story of that. So this next one is called Black Rain.
All right. Well,
atmospheric song.
Nice. Well, let's check it out right now. This is brand new stuff from Primal Fear. It is Black Rain right here on your Classic Metal Show.
Thanks for checking out the Best of the Classic Metal Show. You can tune into the Classic Metal Show live every Saturday night from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Eastern, exclusively at www.theclassicmetalshow.com.
The Classic Metal Show.